Hello my lovelies, this is Angel Tia from Simply Angel Tia. I'm here to show you guys a tip on how I make my work very even and not loose or tight in within the same stitch. I've had a lot of comments of you guys saying how my work is very even and very neat. So I'm going to credit this technique that I'm going to show you guys right now. So the first thing that I do, you guys may have noticed just from watching my tutorials, my technique is to just kind of wrap the yarn around my index finger like that. And these, I'm gonna say it helps me control my tension, okay? So I just do it like that. I don't do it too tight, but I don't do it too loose, because if it's too loose, it's gonna easily slide off and it's gonna be a little bit of a hindrance on your crochet. But I don't do it too tight because I also want my finger to have blood circulation. So it's just enough. And also don't go too big, because if you go too big, your hand is wrapped for a while before you finish crocheting. So just enough of it. And then, yeah, so that's one technique that I use. I'm not saying that you need to learn how to do this with your work, but I'm just saying this is the technique that helps me have an even tension when I work on my crochet work, okay? And then the second thing is I always make sure I start with my, so I'm going to do a slip knot here. I'm going to show you guys how I do my chain so that my chain is very even and not loose, because some projects or some people may have like chains where it's loose on one side like this, and then it's like tight in some spots, something like this, and then it's loose and then it's tight, and you have a very uneven chain. And that can kind of start off your work in a very negative way to begin with. So the first thing that I make sure I do correct is my chain. I'm going to make sure it's very even in terms of the intensity of how tight or close or loose it is. So let's say I'm going to do like a medium kind of tight chains, which is I just did 2 here. What I do is I hold my chain, I hold the previous chain with my index finger and my thumb while I do the next one, and then I move my hand up and I do the next one, and I move my fingers up and I do the next one, and I move my fingers up and I do the next one. What this does is it prevents me from accidentally pulling tight. If I do it like this, I don't have control of how to do my work. So as you can see here, if I do it like that, it gets tighter just by simply not holding as I go. So that's another technique that I use. So as you can see here, you can see the difference between what I did here by holding it and what I did without holding the yarn. So this is a technique that I find it helps me to make sure my my chains are done evenly. Is I just go in and I make sure I'm holding the next stitch and the next stitch and the next stitch and the next stitch, and then as you can see, it creates a very even chain to begin with. So let's say then I was going to do I'm just gonna do a few more here. Okay, so let's say then I'm going to do let's say I'm gonna do a half double crochet stitch here, and as you guys know, I like to work in the back of the stitch for my half double crochet stitches. So I'm gonna do that because that is the one thing that you'll see me do a lot. So of course we're gonna skip this first stitch here to be able to create the first, and then I'm gonna go and in the back of the second chain I'm going to go in the back and I'm going to do my half double crochet. And the one thing that you guys will see me do a lot is I will hold this, again, my index finger and my thumb of my left hand are the things that help me a lot. So I automatically usually end up going like this to hold it tight. And if you see, if I try to pull my my crochet hook up, it doesn't move because I'm now holding it in a position that it's not gonna go what this is not gonna go up, this is not gonna do anything. So I hold it like this as I crochet, and then I bring it through like that, and then I move on to the next stitch and I yarn over, I go into that stitch, and as soon as I come out with it, I automatically go in and I hold in my work like this while I bring it in and I pull it, and then again I yarn over and I go into the next stitch. And as soon as all 3 loops are on the hook, I automatically go like this. And this, it creates an evenness to my work that I don't end up doing something that is uneven. So as you guys see here, it's very even. So let's say I don't do that. So let's just go in here and let's say I don't do that and I go like this. Look at this. Look at the difference here. let's say I don't hold the way I showed you guys, automatically look at how the difference here. You can see these ones here are a lot longer in length than the ones that I did, and it creates a little bit of a loose work that I may not want exactly to come off like that. So this is another technique that I use usually, is to make sure I hold the next stitch that I'm doing, or the stitch that I'm working on, I hold my stitches together like this while I pull it so that it comes off even. Okay, so I'll do the same thing on the second one here so you guys can see. Okay, like that. So as you can see, there's this portion of the work here that is a little bit looser. As you can see, it kind of goes up. The first one I used my technique, the second one I didn't. The second set here I did the same thing, which is my technique to hold my work. So I don't know, maybe it's just in my head, but this is how these techniques are the ones that I usually use to make sure my work is done properly. Now when we go back to how I put the yarn on my finger like that, another thing is, as you can see, you will see that there's a very even distance here every time that I work. So if I go in like this and I go into the work here, I'm controlling how much yarn I'm bringing in, and as soon as I need more, I let go, and then I go in and I yarn over and I go through. Okay, so this I'm always working with I'm always working with the same amount of yarn coming through like this. As I go, I'm just letting go enough of it that it allows me to not have too much. Okay, so as you can see here, if I just continue to do it like this, I'm just letting go enough that it's not too loose. I'm not doing this and then I'm working like this. It's not loose, it's tight, like it's always straight like this. So that way I'm not working with loose yarn, I'm working with a very straight yarn, and it's also tense enough that I know how much I'm bringing in, and then when I need more, I release and let go and make more for the next stitch. So it's almost like this distance here is just enough for one stitch before I have to let go of the yarn and release enough to do for the next stitch. Okay, so that's it. So these are the techniques that I use for my work to be straight. And the other ones that you can use as well, of course, is crochet hook size. So if you want to do your work to be a little bit looser, it's always good to make sure your crochet hook size is a little bit larger than what is recommended. Or if you want your work to be a little bit tighter, you always go down in crochet hook. But I tend to crochet a lot with a 5, let's say between 4 and 6 are my sizes for crochet hook. For almost every size of yarn, because I can control the intensity. So if I want my work to work out tight, I can use any crochet hook and create that tightness. And if I want my work to be a lot looser, I can use the same crochet hook size and make my work a lot looser. So it's just something that I have learned over the time to be able to do that. Anyways, so these are my quick techniques here. So hopefully it will help someone. Maybe if you're a beginner and you're looking to make sure you're doing your work properly, that can help you one way or another. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. See you guys in the next one.